All right, as you can see from the page here, I'm going to do something that I feel I should. I want to state that this isn't official. I don't know that Jason Reed would approve of this being done this way, but I kind of felt I should, and I wanted to bring some awareness to this practice of the golden light. Now, I'm showing you this seal from his book, and you could draw it out with your sword hand, or there are other ways. It is not exclusive, though. Okay, you can see it here. You can find it online. That's just a Google search. There are Taoist versions of it. There are Buddhist versions of it. I've been doing the practice for about a year, and in this book, Practical Chinese Magic by Jason Reed, I suggest you should do that a couple times a week. I've been doing it for about a year, and I typically do it 5 days a week or more. I really like it, and so what I'm doing today is I'm going to use it for a healing candle for a family member of mine that needs some healing. Actually, a couple of them. It's a family that are having some issues. So I've got a secondary candle here, just as kind of like a before and after for people that could pick up on those things. So what is the golden light? It's essentially accessing initially yang energy, and in the initial stages, usually you would ask for some guidance from the Tao or something like that to help the approach be right. You can read up on the different approaches of it. There's a very specific Maoshan way that we do when you join the class, and I'm kind of skirting around that a little bit, but you can find the golden light in Practical Chinese Magic. The book itself costs about $34 in print. I have it in print and electronic. He could charge double that, and it would still well be worth the money. It's a really, really good book. I'm obviously a very big fan of it. And so I kind of wanted to bring some light to it, light to the golden light. Now, what am I going to be? I told you I'm going to be using it in this candle. But what I've done some things beforehand that you aren't going to see. And I'm not going to use, the wording in this book is a little bit different from the wording in the school. It achieves the same thing. But I'm going to be using it obviously to channel and then flood this candle with energy. But I've done some other things beforehand that you can find in this book that isn't part of my daily practice, because if it's my daily practice, I'm cultivating the energy for myself. Here, I'm trying to use it for something very specific. Now, we're not in the part of the class that I'm in, we're not into food talismans yet. And so otherwise I would probably be using a food talisman rather than a candle. So the candle approach, as far as I know, is unorthodox, and that's why I don't know if he would approve of that or not. But I'm going to do it, so I thought I might as well show that I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and get some traction for this practice. So it's essentially you're bringing in yang energy, and in this case, when you're first starting out with it, it is recommended that you ask the master for this. Now, Buddhist master, Taoist master, the Tao itself, you can ask for the master. There is a specific set of phrases that is used. It's a little mini ritual for the Maoshan school. I don't know if that's like public or not, so I would just do a plea, a request, almost like a petition, to have them help you pull this in. But for right now, I will be mouthing the words for the golden light ritual, and then I will be flooding the candle. I've already done purifying the mouth, purifying the heart, and purifying the body, which are all in this book. But I don't want to give the material away. So since this is public, I didn't mind showing that. But the hand seal that he recommends and where you use it is in this book for the golden light. I don't know if other versions use that one or not, but I just find one that you like and then do it. Let me do this, and then we can talk in a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and cut so I can speak it out loud, and then I will merge these together and pick back up. All right. So I've done the golden light ritual. It is now flooding into me, and I've filled my reservoir, if you will, and I'll be channeling the rest into this candle here. Okay. I was just told that should be enough for this round. So I believe that be. Now let me. I'm going to thank the master and those present, and then we'll get on to a little bit more discussion as I light this candle. Okay. So what does the golden light do? Well, it's you can think of it as like a divine channeling, but divine has a different term than I would use for it. It is channeling of the it is channeling of a source, and you don't own it. I should state that part of my request was, when I was speaking in the beginning to the masters, was that they help facilitate this. I haven't done this like this before, so all right. So let me get back to it then. So what is it? And the golden light is a channeling of basically yang energy. There are other methods of it where you can do the yin. And I didn't think I'd been doing it as long as I had, but I have. And so now I can go to some of the texts and start working on other forms of it as well. These build on top of the original, so that's not going away. But essentially it's channeling, in this case, yang energy into a candle for the purposes of, healing. Since it is yang energy only, it's not necessarily about balance, but it is about directing that energy in a certain way, right? In this case, they probably have a lot of yin going on due to the different illnesses that they have, and so that is exactly why I am using this yang energy, and also asking that, in this case, Taisheng Laojun, the master, help to facilitate that. And I'll burn this candle over some time. I'll basically be using my intuition to, or if I get a notification or feel I should stop burning it for the day, then I will, because I'm not looking to over energize either. But since they are literally in another state, be at least a 10-hour drive, I'm not going to be there and monitoring them all the time. So I will wait for cues like that, which I will listen to, and then yeah, I mean, that's real. I mean, there really isn't much else to it. It feels very similar to, I know I've worked with Helios before. I still do quite a bit, relatively speaking, and it feels pretty similar to that, the yang energy. It is a little bit different, though. It's not just, it's not a one-to-one comparison. Similar, but different. And you would think that doing the golden light almost daily for a year would imbalance in so many, but it really doesn't, because it's done for very specific reasons, and that is working on the energetic cultivation of the person. So it's not like you're just storing this information, storing the raw um, energy there, right? You don't have this huge lump of yang energy sitting there throwing everything else out of whack. It's not quite like that. It's directed, and because it's directed, it means it's more balanced and less prone to cause issues because of that. And the other part's because you're using the master for this, and then the master, which, let's see here, master here, Taisheng Lao Jun. I can't really say it though. But the master does help facilitate some of that. And it wasn't until I didn't know why, but last week I felt I should start storing more of it inside of me. It does mention that in some of the texts, but it is specific on how it talks about it. So I wouldn't recommend doing that without, because it said it at the year mark essentially. I would look for other validations for that, because this is specific to my school. I can't say I'm a member of it because I'm not. I'm working through the basics to then be able to become a member if I choose to. So I'm not initiated yet. But where was I? Oh, so I didn't realize that was basically the 1 year mark since I had started doing it, and I didn't realize that until today. Actually, I went and looked and saw when I started doing it, and it was back in March of 2023. So now that I've hit the year mark, maybe that's why there were. It's not lost on me that the master for the Golden Light ritual, it's not always Taisheng Lao Jun, right? Had said you should start storing this for personal use, and so since that's also mentioned in the text, okay, it was time for that, and so I was very appreciative. But I haven't flooded an item with the Golden Light before. I've done it with people, I've done it for locations, but I've not done it for a candle for healing. And so we're going to try that here. And I thought I should probably let you know. So, not terribly exciting, but it is terribly useful. And I wanted to bring up the golden. I should probably say, since I've been doing this for a year, what have I noticed? Well, I've noticed that there's a big difference when doing the golden light. Now, in the past, I've talked about some of the other rituals that I do, and some of the other attunements and things like that. And I keep saying you need to practice, practice, practice. Well, I wasn't saying that just because I knew that the Chinese did that, because I didn't know any Chinese spells, so I had no knowledge about the golden light. It made sense to me. It made me more efficient. It made me more effective, and it meant I had fewer repercussions of any sort from pulling in larger and larger amounts of energy, which is always a concern. And so it wasn't really until the golden light that I started doing the golden light for a while that I started noticing that the ritual itself becomes stronger. And I've started kind of making the case here and there about rituals being constructs themselves, and it makes sense if you do a lot of different types of rituals and you do them a lot. It'll start making more sense. You become better at it, more efficient, and the golden light is no different. Here, let me wet my throat. Okay, the golden light is no different, and I've noticed that. Excuse me. Carbonation. So I've noticed that it becomes a lot more concrete and a lot more solid. I don't typically have to ask the master to come to get benefit from the Golden Light ritual. There's no harm in doing it. It's not like you then owe them something. You're asking for their facilitation, and as masters, they should, if they feel that's appropriate for you, then there really shouldn't be anything to pay, right? Not from elevated beings like that. So the ritual becomes stronger and stronger, and I in turn have been pulling been pulling more and more energy from that. I didn't really have a direct use for it, but I've been given kind of some indications of what I can do with it. And this was before I was specific. I looked to a very specific PDF that I have from the school that I'm not able to give out, right? Where it said at the 1 year mark you should start storing energy, and I didn't really have a reason to look at that PDF, but I felt I should, and so that's when I kind of made the connection on that. But I didn't think it had been a year, and it had, so that was good, and it's become stronger and stronger. I can use it with just visualization. The words kind of work best. You should visualize things with the words, though. I'm not familiar with the other versions of it outside of the Maoshan, so I can't say if they require it or what the differences are between those. I've only done the Maoshan version, so. But visualizing it, what's being said there is a really good idea. Okay. Otherwise, it's just words, and just like the long flowing prose text that some of these occult writers like to do to basically masturbate to words. Those don't do anything for me, and that's because they don't evoke anything from me. They don't evoke a lot of visualizations or emotions. I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to do. I know what they're trying to do. I just don't like it. But here it's not very long, and the visualizations are pretty good. Now, he doesn't really say what to visualize inside the school so much, right? So part of it's things you learn over time, and so the spell becomes more and more direct, more and more concentrated, and more effective. I think we'll probably end that here. I know it wasn't action packed because it's not going to be action packed. It's largely an energetic ritual, a very focused, targeted one here. And I wanted to share that and bring some light to the Golden Light ritual.